have a wiki and I store all my information on there. Well, not all of my information, but a lot of information. And if you go to wiki.toku.us, it's right here, wiki.toku.us, it brings you to the header page. And if you look on the left, you can see that there's a page for DaVinci Resolve. That will bring you to this page we have right in front of us here. And on this page, I have a lot of the notes. As I've been using Resolve over the years, I've been collecting all sorts of information like shortcuts. And I have things over here. If you want to do a conversion, dealing with multiple cameras, renaming clips, how to see it, how to do a dynamic zoom, and so forth. I'll be doing some of these here tonight.
Could you put that address in the chat?
Sure.
So folks, what Steve's putting in is a really valuable website. It's like Steve's secret place where he puts all his cool stuff. Wiki.toku.us.
Toku is like to keep up.
To keep up.
So anyway, this when you'll see me doing some things today, you will be able to find out words that tell about how to do them on this particular wiki page, because there are a lot of videos that you can see. In fact, you can see there are some videos here that I've collected. This is linked from that other page. And these are a number of videos that I've either watched or I'm planning on watching because they look really good to watch. But I've taught myself a great deal from finding videos and from exploring and finding things out for myself. So any questions so far on the wiki page that I have? If you have a MacBook, or if you want to use LibreOffice, I have things on that as well here.
Hey,
Okay.
Steve, quick question. This is David Weinstein. So it looks like it's all very Mac oriented, and it looks like you're
not necessarily. Oh, it looks like this is
like your MacBook shortcuts and
yeah. Generally, the command, which is this thing right here, is the control. So for control, for select all, you do Control A on a PC.
Right.
So I'm using a Mac, and frankly, these are my notes. But with regards to the shortcut, you can find out that when it says command, it means control in most cases here.
Okay.
And I just my last question for the night is: do you find the Mac to be a better media machine than a Windows machine?
Maybe he's getting me started. Oh,
or has Windows caught up to Mac in terms of media?
A slight story here. I started video editing using DaVinci, Sony Vegas on a PC, and I have graduated up to Sony Vegas Pro, and on my Windows machine, I found that whenever I ran the program, my Windows computer would blue screen. It was a 1-in-1. You want a blue screen? Run Sony Vegas. And I started running it to more blue screens, and that's when I decided that maybe I wanted something else. Somebody lent me a MacBook, iMac, and I found that it was very much like a PC, and then I bought myself a MacBook, which is what I'm using now. It has some advantages that work well with me. You can do all of this on a Windows machine. You can do all of this on a Linux machine if you have an appropriate graphics driver. So that's one advantage for Resolve, and I can show you the page. This is the DaVinci Resolve page right here, and you get this. Well, you do a search for DaVinci Resolve, and it'll bring you to Blackmagic Design, which is the company that makes it. And if you go down to the bottom, well, here you see download now. You see that I'm using 6.2.8, and I didn't want to update to 17 before I did the demo today. But you can download 17 or 6.2.8, and it's available on 3 operating systems. This is, well, then I say one more thing, and then you're going to be amazed at this. They also have 2 versions, this version here and then the Studio. The difference between these two is that with the Studio, you can do some 3D things. You can coordinate with other people on your team if you're a team of people doing these videos, and you could edit it on one machine and generate the video on another machine, so forth, for $300. But you can do all the stuff that I'll be showing you tonight and a lot more with the free version, which is the one on the left here. It's free. The only thing they ask is for you to tell them your name and email, and I've gotten no junk mail from them. Questions?
How long do they normally let you use the free version for, or is it?
They haven't told me I can't use it anymore. It's a forever, as far as I can tell.
Steve,
Yeah.
when you update or from 16.28,
Yep.
16.5, or 17, do you have to delete the previous version to? Or you?
I don't. You know, I'll have to find out, George, and let you know. But I don't think so. I think it just overwrites. On my machine, it might be another option. I handle it differently on a Mac, but it might just overwrite the version. So when I do a download, okay, when I download a Resolve 16.2.8, I still have the downloaded file. I don't delete it when I'm done installing it, so that I can always revert back to it. And I'd advise doing that.
Okay.
This work on a PC? What caused
Yeah.
it not to work for you?
It was Vegas, Shuki, that didn't work. It works on all three platforms well, Windows, Linux, and Mac.
This is one of those softwares that does. Sony Vegas doesn't. It only works on PC.
Okay.
So I started using DaVinci Resolve on a PC, and then I switched over to a Mac, and I was delighted that it moves. And I have a Linux machine that if it had a good display graphics card, I could do it on that as well. So
Steve, are the files the same on all three platforms? Can you take a file and just move it to another platform?
It's not quite so much a file because DaVinci uses a database. I think it's a SQL database to keep track of all of its things.
Yeah.
However, you can, I haven't got a great deal of experience, but with doing this, but I do have something in here where there's a way where you can archive projects. And if you archive everything about it, it goes to, I think it's a DBA file. You can take that DBA file and all the files that went into that video that you worked on to another machine and import them and pick it up there. I haven't proven that, but I suspect that's how it works. Okay.
Everybody, I put the link and some notes on what's required to download in the chat for people to see.
Thank you.
You don't need to make it up, but you certainly can. They're not going to check it. I've had no negative results. I put my real name in there. They haven't said anything that I put it in several times. They haven't sent me any email saying, don't you want to upgrade? So it's like they figure they're giving you a free version and you're going to like it so much that you're going to get together with a team and buy the paid version. Okay. Sight and sound resources. Whenever you're doing a video, or whenever I'm doing a video, I like to put music underneath it. And when you're using music, you have to be careful because, well, first of all, you have to get it so that you can use it. Then you have to be careful. Is it something that is copyrighted? It's something that if you put it someplace like on YouTube, that they will call it out as a copyright violation. So you have to be very careful about what music that you use. So I try to use music that is not copyrighted or restricted for me to use. And one I found here is this one called Mix It. This particular one here I found to be very useful. Let's see if I can go visit that. Oh, looks like here it is. And I'll tell you one reason why I like this one. This came from the other page. I'll go back just a second. Right here, I clicked on Mix It Free Stock Music. I clicked on this here. This is off my wiki. And one thing's nice about that is if you want to see, well, what does this sound like? So you get a chance to hear it. You get a chance to see it graphically here, and then you can download it if you like it. So you got the idea on that. The advantage of it's very easy to hear the music. It doesn't cost anything. It says download free background music. It says it's free, royalty-free stock music. Great to use in any video that you're producing. Questions so far? Once again, it goes back to my True Images wiki.toku.us and Sight and Sound resources. So these are the 3 pages it gets to. Oh, Martin, you put the link there. It's got it right here too, but that's okay. Okay, so let's get on to producing a video. But before I do that, I'd like to show you one that I've produced already today. This is a rather short one. And hopefully it's not going to be too loud. Let me turn it down a little just in case. So I can talk about this today.
On the bows of the head. Kiss the bottom. Okay.
Okay. Here?
Yep.
You'll note that we're zooming in on this one at this point.
Come on. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, you came to the right place to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
This is from movie Kong Skull Island.
Oh, yeah.
They came and they said, we want everything dead because this is a graveyard for, so this they killed all the grass.
So the entrance to Jurassic World.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think?
Wow.
I did that this afternoon.
Just for point of view, on the use of copyrighted music, I put a little piece on the chat in there, so that might be interesting to some people about how much music you use. It says, "Can I use 10 seconds of a copyrighted song?" And I put it. It says in there. This is from what Google says. You may have heard
Okay.
of fair use.
Okay, I really don't want to spend a lot of
Okay,
time
all
on
right.
the copyright of music. You put it in the chat. What I will say is that I have put videos up on YouTube with 10-second clips of music, and YouTube puts a copyright violation on it. So I'm looking at it for trying to keep it so that it's not a copyright violation.
Yeah.
So-
Or what
It's
Google
7 o'clock.
continues. This goes back to our original conversation. It's Google's call, not ours.
Thank you for putting that there, though, Stephen.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the program. When you first, this is one thing I like about the software here, the MacBook. When you first come in, you get to all your projects, and this was my first set of DaVinci video demos that I did. Those from the computer group may have seen this one here that I did. Remember the dump truck there? I also have done some World War II interviews, programs for a computer group, BNUG programs. I developed my logo in a project. I produced a quick video on how to create your own face shield, and did some how to pronounce this long word. Anyway, for tonight, I'm going into the DaVinci demos. So this shows that I have 9 projects here. You can set up a different project, which is like its own work area. So I've created one for DaVinci demos. I double click on it and we get to this particular page. And let's walk around what we have here. This is DaVinci Resolve. You can see that on the top here. And these are all the things you can do there. And this is all everything to the right here is associated with my machine here, and it's not with regards to DaVinci. We have media storage here, which shows these are the various directories, and here's one directory called DaVinci Demo. And in DaVinci Demo, I have collected all of the things I might want to use in this particular project. So this is on the top here. This is on your disk. So I created a directory. I have another one for the Mars landing. You guys might have seen that. I created all the files and I put them all in that particular directory. Here's another project. I put the date of it and the general project it is, and then information about what it is. That's just the way I handle my files. Inside, I have all of the various things that I might want to include in this video today. And down here, I have different bins or collections of items. And for this demo here, which is the 2101, where'd that page go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, that's my timeline 7. That's the one I just showed you. I showed you my timeline 7. And we'll take a look at that in a minute. But these are all the different things that are in it that I copied down from the top and put them into this particular bin. I have another bin here that has fewer things in it, and I'm going to show you the World War II intro a little later. So just to review, on the left here, we are looking at our file system. On the bottom, we're looking at what's going into a bin that we're building. On the right here, we can take a look at these different files here to get an idea if we want to copy them into the bin. And we can also select areas from them if that's something we want to do. Down in the bottom here, we have the different tabs or like the areas to do work. This one is the media page. That's where I'm choosing what goes into my bins. And on the upper left, you see it says media storage. I don't use this one, cut, but I do most of my work in this one, edit rather. This is where you'll see the timeline with all the different pieces of information there. Over here, I haven't done much with Fusion. I think it's a powerful thing, but I haven't had need for it just yet. I do some work over here in the coloring, but it's mostly to take snapshots. If you noticed at the beginning of the video I played, we had a picture of Adam and we had a picture of Martin, and we had some other pictures from previous shows from BNUG. And I used this particular tab here to collect a screenshot from them. This is for dealing with music. And this is another one, this is delivery. So if there's only three that you are going, there are only three that you're going to really need. And that would be the media, because you want to set up a bin where you have all your stuff. So your first thing is to create a directory on your disk that has information. Select it here on the top, as I've done. Find the files from here you want to copy and put into what you're going to be working on. You might not want to work on all of them at once. And put them into a bin that you create here. You can create a new bin, for instance. Another one that you'd want to use is the edit. And that's where you see that. And we'll see that in a minute. And then the deliver.
Hey, Steve.
Yep.
Just to interrupt for a moment, I'm just hearing from a member that they're having trouble reading the screen. And I'm puzzled. Yeah, I have the same question Martin has, which is normally under view options, you can change the view ratio, but we can't for some reason. Is that something at your end that you
don't think? I am not sure.
Okay. Because it's hard for us to see any of the words on the screen.
It's hard when you use the program. It's hard to see them. They're dim. It's a black background with dim letters, and they're very small.
Why would a program dedicated to the visual have such difficult visuals?
I'll show you what I got here. If you take a look here, I mean, the stuff is
nice and bright.
Wicked. It's wicked clear for me.
Yeah, we're having trouble with that.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything we can do about it.
Well, I'll do what I can to explain what things are. These are just different directory names on my disk. These are files in that directory. Here's hospital data safety. I took an extraction from that. Anyway.
Steve, a question?
Yeah.
I also have the problem when I open up Resolve on the black background, the white lettering is quite small. Is there any way to enlarge it? Other than using a, you know, some kind of a scope or a glass?
Well, there are
Windows 10 has a magnifier, so there is that option.
there might be a way to do that, George. I'm not familiar with it. Let me see if I can figure out.
I don't know about within the program, but George, if you want to use the Windows 10 magnifier, just go to the search and type magnifier and you'll get the magnifying glass.
Okay.
All right. On the top here, where I have the different files, I can select a file, and then these are music files so that I can play it. And that lets me see, do I want that one or do I want to use this one? What's it like over here? Oh, can't do that. Oh, you can here. So you can skip around as well. Also with regards to videos, for instance, what I did when I was dealing with the dinosaur bones, there is a large video here. And if we just show some extra cabins that they were using for some other movie. But what I did was there's a technical term for this that I don't know. And I started around here on that. I marked it as an endpoint. And then I went up to here.
This is from the island. The game said we want to get this is the radar for
okay. Right about here, I mark it as an out point. And you see that this is, you should be able to see that this is solid here. So when I bring this into a bin, only the part that's in solid will be taken. So if I have a long video, I can quickly skim it and pick out the part that I want to pull in. Or not. You can pull the whole thing in. You can do that editing over here in the timeline. So let's take a look at the timeline that I created.
Excuse me, Steve.
Yeah.
Could you just spend 25 words and just give us the broad overview of the workflow? Does one start
Sure.
a new project, import video, import sound, chop, chop, edit, edit, save, save?
Well, pretty much like that. Let me just go over what mine is. Okay, I create a directory on my disk that I use with the date code. So for instance, for the Mars landing, it was last week. So I created it with the date code for the day, the group that it did it for. Okay, and they're all computer groups actually here. And something that tells me about it. That's just so that I can keep it separate from all the others. And, you know, I do have quite a few others that are available. Then once inside there, and this is before you can get into DaVinci, I will copy all my videos. So I did a search and I found the dance stuff and Disney cards you haven't seen. I found the bones in the Jurassic World. I found those videos that I'd taken with my little camera, and I pulled them and put them into that directory, this directory over here. And then when I get into DaVinci, I put all my music in there and any stills in there. And then when I get into DaVinci, I see them here and I can decide which ones I want to pull into a bin that I create. And I've done one here. Once in here, I can create a timeline. So let's see. Create a new timeline. We'll call it timeline 9. Okay. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
So there's timeline 9. If I come over here, we'll see. Now we go to here. We now see that this is the edit screen, and I happen to have Adam's picture. Okay, and this is what we got a lot of stuff going on in here, and this is the one where you're going to spend most of your time when you're editing. You up to now, you've collected all your files and you put them in a directory. You've taken the ones you want to work on and put them into a bin. Then you create a timeline, and over here you can go to Media Pool, and here's that bin that I created. If I go back over here, you'll see that I called it Demo 2101, and over here, Demo 2101. These are all the files in it. So I'm going to send you away for a minute, Adam, and let's pull something else in here. Music at the top. Okay, let's take the Which one should I take? Dance guy. You haven't seen that one yet. No, I'm not going to do that one. I want to do dance group. Dancing group. Now, you recall in the video that I showed, we were much zoomed in on that, and I didn't pull the whole thing. If you come out, you see that this is 1:18, and I only put about 20 seconds in there. So, oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted into the stuff I like to do here. On the left, we have the media pool, and we pull the items from the pool, from the bin that we created earlier. We pull them down into our timeline. If I want to have the Kissing the Blarney Stone over here, I would put that in, maybe next to it. And then when I go from one to the other,
Okay.
it just goes right to it. We'll talk about editing. So this is where you're selecting the things you want, and then you're going to bring them down into here in the order that you want them. If you want to change the order, it's easy. Just change it around like this. Okay. This shows you what is currently where the cursor is. Over here is what's called an inspector. It can be other things, but I usually use it for an inspector. So if I open up the inspector by pushing the download, we are now inspecting what's highlighted here or what's highlighted here. If we're inspecting this right here, we see we can transform it. We can zoom in on the video. And if I do Control Z, for me, it's Command Z, it just goes back to where it was. I can change the position. I can rotate it and other things. I can crop it to certain things. I can do a dynamic zoom. I'll show you that in a little bit. And other things. So these are all things that I'm doing with this particular video. It's the top part here. If you click on this, you can make changes to its audio. I don't do this very often. So data here, pull it down on here. There's one track with audio and video, a video above audio. And what's important here is that what's on top for video wins. Excuse me. What that means is that if I'm right here and I'm currently seeing this particular part, if I go like this and I move him to a different track and I move him over, it takes over, it wins. I call it wins. I don't know if it's a technical term. Let's see.
What do you mean wins?
Yeah.
Okay, is shown. You know, the others are blocked. I think they are blotted out.
So Steve, what you're saying is if you have multiple video tracks, they don't merge.
Right.
One simply is in front and the other ones are just not, the one behind it, so to speak, or below it is not shown.
Yes. However,
Is
we
the
can
same
take
true
care
of
of
audio?
that. We can say again.
Is the same true of audio by default?
No, audio is combined.
Oh, okay, so it merges audio, doesn't merge video by default.
That's right. However, what you can do is you can do a cropping, click on it to get it. So what I've got selected is this woman who's about to kiss the rock here. And over here, it's selected. So if I crop it left, and if I crop it right, you can see that it's opening up what's below it.
Oh, I see.
All right. So how is that useful? Maybe you want to, let's see if we can try this here. I'm going to move this right here so they're lined up. And I can hit this so we don't see we lose and we get. Why are we not seeing that? I'm surprised. I was expecting to see this one. Did I do something to it? I cropped it left all the way. Yes. Now, let's suppose that we just want to have her on the left and have the dancing people on the right.
In the same scene?
Yeah.
In the same-
So first of all, let's move her to the left, change her position. All right, there she is. And then let's crop the right so we only see her. And then let's go down to this guy here. And what we want to do here is we want to move him to the right. Move him. And there we have it. We have both going on at the same time. Oh, please do. That was me saying, please do take pictures to somebody else. Following, you got what I've done here? Oh, it's this one
Yes,
here.
Will has a question about, William, could you ask your question?
Yes, I've seen what it says.
Yeah.
You want me to be able to turn off the audio. Thank you. You're my straight man. If you want to get rid of audio, you can do a couple of things. First of all, you can mute this. And now it's muted. So when it's not muted, I hear it. Go ahead.
Here?
And now you don't hear it. Or here. Okay. So you can, that's number one. But you might not want to mute the whole thing. So let me zoom in a little closer here. And suppose you just want to mute from this point to this point. Now we come into a command, I think it's Alt. This puts a dot here, and then Alt this and puts a dot here. You can then take the volume on that and go to 0 on both. Let me mute this, and you'll hear that we hear it, but then we stop. And then it goes away. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm individually changing part of the audio here. Where do I find this useful? If someone clears their throat, you might want to take that out. You can cut that out. If this is a clearing a throat right here.
Here?
If you don't want that to be in, you can go the same thing here. I'm doing Alt this. Take it down to 0, and now it won't hear the hearing anymore.
Yeah.
Did that help? Answer your question?
Steve, there was another question about adding captions.
Sure. Good. Boy, you guys are giving me good questions here. All right. Let's see. I want to unmute this. I'll leave it like it is. And what we want to say is, on the left, we want to say Blarney Stone, and on the right, we want to say dancer. Okay, let's do that. Move this down a little bit here. So we go over to, from Media Pool, we go to the Effects Library. And on the Effects Library, we got video transitions. I don't use audio transitions much. Video transitions, so it fades from one to the other, or you saw where I had one going, was the clock. That was a video transition. One of those in here, I forget which one it was. But there's also titles and generators. Use titles, for instance, if you want to put text. So let's come right down here and we'll put text right here. And it just says title. What we want it to do is we want it to say over here, and we got to select it. Now we can see the word title is coming from here. If you want to say Blarney Stone, we want to put that over here. To do that, we now move it, position X, and that's way too big. Let's push it up. Over more to the left. There. Now,
Steve,
what
quick
can we?
question.
Oh yeah.
When I see those numbers rolling quickly, are you using the keyboard or the mouse, or are you clicking?
What I'm. Oh, okay. Good point. Thank you. I appreciate your asking these questions because this stuff is so automatic to me, and I want to tell you how to do it. I click with my mouse and then I drag to the left or to the right. So you can see I'm moving my mouse with the button clicked.
Steve, we had a question about, can you take what you just did, like you got Blarney on the left and dancing on the right, and put it on a website easily?
What do you mean by put it on a web? You mean how to do
Yeah,
that?
if you have a website, like say you wanted to put this video on the BNUG website,
I would put it on YouTube and link the YouTube to the BNUG website.
that's your usual recommendation for
Yep.
getting videos on?
Well, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but I'll tell you that's what I'm doing.
You can actually take the URL, say if it's on YouTube, and I can take that URL from YouTube and post it right into the website. It will come up as a full-fledged video right on the website.
And he's talking about there's two ways of handling that. You can put the URL, it says click here, and a window opens up playing the video. And I think what he's saying is that you can copy the link in there, and a box shows the video, and you can click on the video inside the BNUG website. Is that right, Stephen?
That's correct. Or you can put just the link itself.
Okay.
And I think
Steve, but before you can even do any of that, don't you have to export to make a simple video?
That's this rocket. That's this rocket right here. It's called Deliver.
You haven't done
We'll
delivery.
we'll get to that.
Stephen,
Yeah.
I have several questions. Can I put a spacer of a couple of seconds between each video clip, or is that
Yes.
controllable in transitions?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. Right here we have the dancing. Whoops, don't go away. Dancing. If I come and I click on the edit mode blade, I can go to here and I go back to this guy. At this point, I can take this, and I've just removed part of the video, and I put it like this, so that if I get rid of this guy here, so we're only seeing him, you'll see that there's a jump. You see the jump there? Okay. Now, the way we can take care of that is by going through.
Delicious. Delicious. Delicious.
I don't understand
Delicious.
you're saying, if you're saying you like something, that's nice. But then what I did was I took a cross dissolve and I put it in. I think that's what you're talking about, Charisse.
Yeah, just a couple of seconds between each. And
Then if you want-
I can do
then
a
if you-
transition, so much the better.
That the transition, but if you don't, you can go like this, and then you have.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so
All right, my next question. Obviously, I can order the clips in the sequence that I want, correct?
yes. I'll tell you what, Charisse, can you hold on to that because I'm still doing the text thing.
Okay.
I just want to finish this up because I had the Blarney Stone on one side, and I wanted to put another one over here because it's good to know how to do two of them at the same time. If I take a second title and I drag it down like this, now you see that there's Blarney Stone on the top here and title here. Now I see a couple things here. First of all, I got to put the word in for the title. So I want to put down here is a dancing people. And of course, that's too large. Click and drag to make that be the right size. Move it over to the right. Click and drag, pull it up to the top. Not that far, about here. If we take a look at this guy, we see that he's 75 point. So let's go over here. Let's make him 75 point here. So the same size. If I take a look at him, I like to use a different font than Times Roman. So I have downloaded a number of free fonts. One of them that I use quite a bit is Thinly Handled. But I'll stick with ones that come most of the time. Tahoma comes. So I can do that, or Comic Sans. A lot of people like Comic Sans. So I now change that to Comic Sans. I should do the same thing for dancing people, which would be this one here. You see it has a text here telling me what it's about. So if I make this one also be Comic Sans. So now they're both Comic Sans, but you see how you're having a little trouble with the Blarney Stone because it's white on top of a white. Okay. Tucci, the guy who does the stuff in Italy, take note of what's coming up here. See how this is white on top of white? And if this is in front of somebody's white shirt, you'll have trouble seeing it. So what you do is you add a drop shadow on that. And I found that a drop shadow of 4 here and -4 here, you notice how it now has black around it and it stands out. So you can see it, the white on a white or not dark background. Over on this side, you don't need it as much. So that's how I put the two texts on. What you might want to do there is you might want to make them so they don't start right away, and maybe you want them to fade in. Now, this is, if you take a look here, that's 1 second. Where it says right there, I've got it in, it says +01:00. That's 1 second. And if I tick down, oh, so there's 24 frames per second. So 12 is half a second, and that's a good transition, about half a second. Okay, and here. There. So now we have, let's just play this little part right here. See, they both appear. Oh, please do. Go ahead. And then they disappear. Okay, now we wanted to get rid of the audio down here. Or maybe not. So I've taken care of text. Any questions on the text I've added?
Steve, is there for this sort of thing, I'm more used to just clicking right on the text and dragging it around in the interface, as well as having alignment tools. Is that an option, or do you have to use the thing on the right with the raw numbers?
I think you have to use the thing on the right, because I think if you click on this, I'm clicking, it doesn't seem to do anything. I think you have to actually go over here. They do let you click on this here. I click and then I can drag to the left or the right to make the number smaller or larger. And I can also slide this and do the same thing.
Can I also just type the numbers in?
Yeah, I imagine so. Yes.
Oh, okay, because that would be quicker for making things line up. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I guess that would be. Okay, Sharice, you had more questions.
Yes. Can I take music, slice and dice it, and then save it in another format?
Okay. Yeah, I believe so. Let's see if we can do that rather quickly here.
For example, I want to do my own ringtones on my phone. So I have the
I don't know if
music
you
that I
can do
want.
that. I don't know if you can do ringtones out of here.
No, but see, if I save it as an MP4 and then send it to my phone through email, I can then pick it up on my phone and tell it to use that as the ringtone.
It's 7:30.
Oh, you're talking about if you're working on a particular thing, it's only audio.
Yeah.
Sure, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. You might want to come into here and do some stuff with Fairlight, because that way you can work with it. I'm not familiar with it. I've done it, but I'm not enough to be able to show it.
And by extension, is there a function to plug into an audio input so I can digitize music off, say, an LP record?
Oh, that leads right into a question George hasn't asked yet. You still there, George? He's on Mars. You'll notice he's one with the yellow orange background. He's on Mars. Okay. The first of all,
I'm still here.
Okay, that's good. First of all, Sharice, the answer is yes.
Okay.
And next, George, the answer is yes, you can annotate this. So let me come over here to the side. Oh, here, I'm just going to mute all this. Oh, no, I won't. Say right about here, I want to add some, text. Me talking. Uh-oh, I better get to the page on the side that tells how to do this. I'm going to my wiki because this is something new to me. I just found this out yesterday, actually. And that's, oh, that's right. It's under Resolve. Go to DaVinci Resolve. Okay, DaVinci Resolve, and then go down to record voice over the video. So this is how you do it. I'm going to push this off to the side so I can follow it. You go into the Fairlight, this guy over here. Okay. Oh, see, oh, look at this. This is where we are. This is our current video right here. Okay. And now we want to add a sound there. So we add audio, add track, cancel. Oh, I'm starting to get a. Okay, so an add audio. Oh, let's see. Basically, the instructions are, I'm still working on them, as you can tell, but I want to select my microphone here. That's this guy right here. It's this microphone right here I'm going to use. And I have to be able to put in add a track. Oh, mono, add a track mono, because my microphone is mono. Now, when I come over here, I drag it. Oh, there's 3. There's no input associated with number 3. So I can choose an input, which I want this guy. So this guy, which is this little microphone right here. Okay. You can see him. Okay. It's a microphone. And he's now connected to audio 3. So I patch them and I'm done. Now, at this point, I want to do a recording. I'm going to use this guy right here. I know that I'm going to have to up the volume. And then I can hit the record button. This is a test, and this is not working. Why is it not working? Oh, silly me. I got to push the record button. This is a test. This is only a test. So now I'm going to turn it off so we won't have to have the echo effect. If we go back over to the video and we're at about 106, if we go back over to the video, oh, look at, there it is. And if I go solo, so he's the only one that if I mute these other guys here. This is a test. This is only a test. So I just added audio. Now, if I was going to be doing this for real, I'd turn off my speaker over here so I wouldn't get the echo from the two. And I might mute the audio on the track that I'm recording over. But by doing this way, once again, going over to Fairlight, creating a new audio, coming over here, seeing it, going and selecting what audio is going to be your microphone, and then push the R for recording. Then you can come up and hit the record button and talk, and it will be over it. You can just watch what's going on in the upper right here. You can see what's going on. If you were having headphones on, you can hear the music or hear whatever if there's any music or talking, and it not going into the microphone. I've got a set of speakers over here. Did I answer the questions? Oh, now with regards to adding another audio, that is maybe a stereo track, and we go to audio 4. Here, we can choose, and I'm not familiar with this, but you can choose other things. I'm choosing input, which is my microphone, but you can take other things here, and you will have to read on that, Charisse. I don't know how to do that offhand.
Okay. Now, another question. I can save a project and then you know, pull it up as a separate entity from other projects and then pull it up later and then burn stuff to a DVD, for example?
This doesn't go to DVDs. What we're doing here is we're taking video and audio that you collected. We're throwing them up here on the timeline. We're changing them around to make them look really nice. You saw the video that I produced.
Yeah.
Then we go over here to this guy. Whoops. We go over here to this guy over here. We click him. And
What
this
guy?
is this one here that says deliver down at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. When you go to here, deliver. Now, this is something everybody's going to need, because once you have the video and you're happy with it, okay, you want to deliver it. And that's where you put in your information on the left here. You might want to send it to YouTube. You'll have to give it credentials. When I was talking about microphones, you'll also have to tell it how to get your microphone recognized. And I managed to do that by looking it up on the internet. I don't recall what I did. My older self did. My earlier self did. Go ahead.
So Steve, I put in the credit. I put it in the chat here, and I think it'd be nice if I know that, you know, once some of the guys here, some of the people within our group here get to use this program. Can you talk a little bit about adding credits, especially something maybe very similar to maybe what they used in Star Wars? The scrolling up one.
Okay, I have two things I can show you there. One of them I'm going to show you right now. And this was a actual video that an interview that we took. It was in the community center when the community center was around. Crystal McCarthy is a woman who stayed homeside during World War II, and Ashley is interviewing her. But let's see if I get rid of this. I'm on the wrong spot. I should be over here. Then if we go to the end, click the end key. Okay, this is not the right one to look at. Oh, that's right. I should be looking, let's say Charles Ketchum. No. I've done this, Stephen. Hang on a second. I got to find where it is.
Okay.
On the ones that I currently have available. Well, this is where I put the credits, but it looks like I don't have, there's my logo. It looks like I don't have the rolling on this one.
I think this, you know, if you can really show off some of the different features that DaVinci has by, you know, putting, I mean, every video that someone makes should have some kind of credits on the end of it, you know, giving credit to the people who helped make it, including yourself. And it also kind of gives, you can, in there, you should be able to give credit to the music that you used while you're actually, when you actually made the song, or the music that you used during the video, things like that, and the people who helped you make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Steve, you know, the recipe.
Oh, here we go. I think this is it. Talking about something like this.
Yeah.
So this was a while ago. Well, I mean, frankly, I don't recall how I did this. But obviously it's possible to do because we're looking at a video that I did. Sorry.
Yeah, Steve?
Yeah.
Could you, I don't know, there's almost a recipe of doing the audio input. I mean, there are like, what, 6 steps?
Yes.
Can you put them in the chat or somewhere? Because it seems like it's a recipe one has to follow.
By
Yeah, it's on my wiki.
Is there a user manual?
Yeah.
There's extensive user manuals and people who are doing these things online.
Okay.
available to you. You can find the information there. I pointed out that I have a wiki,
Your wiki. So it's on your
record
wiki.
voiceover. This is some of the steps, and I'm still working on it.
Okay.
And
Steve, what I found is I just give the exact title, go to YouTube, and there's 12 videos on how to do that one particular step. Having counted the YouTube videos on DaVinci, there are approximately 10,000 of them.
He's right. And I found 2 of them right here. So that if you go to my wiki.toku.us, choose the page for DaVinci Resolve, come down here and look, record voiceover. And here it is. It says how to do it. I was only looking at these. There are more steps here that I put in. Patch the microphone. You can't see the track, patch it. And these are the steps that you would do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
And
Steve.
you will find, 1 second, Jerry, you will find, and I advise that you take a look at the wiki, because I've put a lot of time into putting the information there that I refer back to, and to links to the place where I got that information if you want to get more data. Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, I'm still not quite
Great.
clear on what deliver is, and by extension, I have another question.
Okay, sure. Let me go back to DaVinci demos. I don't want to save this because I don't want to make any changes. And I want to go to timeline 7 because that's the one that I did earlier. And this is the video that I played for you at the beginning. And what I can do is I can make a change to something here. So it says 2nd generation here. So that you can see what I've done. Oh, I didn't show you about how I zoomed in with the text. Anyway, and then at the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something I like to do on my videos. And I like to put my logo.
Is that the True Image Productions with the tree?
That's it. So now the point is, what I've done is I've added things and made changes to this. So now I'm going to save it. I'm doing a I think it's a Control S to save. Is that what it is? Save project. You see it's right here. For me, it's Command S, but that's how you can find out what it is.
Yep.
Okay. Then I go over here like this. And now this is, since I was in that timeline 7, this is it here. And now if I want to, I want to call it timeline 7A, because they just made a change to it. It's going to be in my videos under DaVinci with the today's date. I'm going to render it to a file. I'm going to take the standard video things here. I'm going to take the standard audio, and I'm going to just make a regular file. Nothing special here, except that you can do some things with subtitles if you have subtitles. I've subtitled some videos. That's a lot of stuff by itself. So I'm not going to do that now. So if I add to the render queue, now we have 2 jobs in the render queue. We have the one I did this afternoon, which is this one, and job 2. Job 2 is selected. So
okay.
Now if I want to render this, I do start render. And now it's going to be playing on the, you can see the video as it's going across here. You see the word 2nd generation. You didn't see it on this spot because I didn't change that spot. So there's a bug in the video. On the over here, you can see how long it's got. It's got about 50 seconds to go. It's a third of the way through. So it's showing you what it's rendering. This is called rendering. As it's doing it, where it's going in here. And now it's going to put the text for Disney World up there. And you can see where it's got to do some thinking because it slows down. And it's done. Okay, now if I bring over my directory, you can see there's my logo here, 7A, and it's a little bit bigger than 7 because it's got other stuff in it. If I click, and I'm going to open it with MK Player. So rather than, looks like it's got something. Oh, that's because I see the thing in the bottom here. That's because it's taking a screen from something that Adam has. But you can see it said second generation. And over here it doesn't because that's a second clip. And then
Okay.
at the end here, it has True Images Productions.
All right, so you save a project, you string a bunch of video clips together as one project. But
Yep.
what about
Well, yeah,
keeping
it's
the
part of
video
a project.
clips separate?
Okay. If you take a look here, you can see that I have 9 different, help me with the word, timelines. I have 9 different timelines here. If you took a look at World War II, you'd see approximately 20 of them. Each one of them is a separate video. It's going to be a separate video.
Okay.
So
Right.
if we took, when we were looking at the World War II, we would have seen, well, I was jumping between them. We saw many people were interviewed, and each one of them is its own timeline. And I've also done it, each one with its own bin.
All right, but for what I have in mind, that sounds kind of cumbersome. I want to string together about 150 clips.
All right, well, how could you do that? Okay, suppose you wanted to string together all of this stuff. Okay, all of these clips. I would select them. They're all selected,
Yeah.
and I create a timeline using the
you-
selected clips.
You drop each clip in the spot where you want it.
Well, that's what you're doing when you're working with the timeline.
Okay, yeah.
I was doing that before. If
Wait,
I-
Steve, sorry, but what you're clicking on right now, create timeline with, would that simply put them in alphabetical order from left to right?
I think it puts them in this order. Let's take a look. Create timeline, use selected clips. So it starts with Dance Group and then Kissing Blarney Stone. Timeline 10, what order? If we go over here, zoom in, out. Oh, I'm bringing it closer, sorry. Dance Group, timeline. So it's the order that they're listed. So it must be pretty much alphabetical order.
So in other words, instead of dragging them in one by one, you can just select them all and just say, make a timeline, and it does all the dropping in for you.
Yes.
And then you can reorder.
All right, so that the clips remain separate entities from each other, but they're in the order that you put them through the software.
They're the order that they're showing in the bin. However, you'll see that if you were watching, I just took this one that was here and put it over here. And if I go over here, I can take this guy and this guy and put them after this guy.
Okay, that's what I was asking. And
Yeah, so Sharice, I think what he's saying is if you have 50 clips, you can put them all into one timeline, assuming you're not doing that clever overlap thing.
yeah, but it's going to save it as one continuous video versus
Well, eventually,
separate.
yeah. Well, eventually, yes. But
Okay,
it seems to me that you have both all the individual clips in your raw material pile, and eventually you'll be rendering out or exporting out the finished product. I mean, both
Okay.
have to take up space on your hard drive.
and then it doesn't need save it as a file, and then I can just burn it to a DVD.
You can burn any video you want to a DVD,
Okay.
but you can't do it with this software.
Well, once the project is done, then I just burn it to a DVD with Windows.
There you go.
Okay.
Excuse me, Steve. I have a very high level question, if you don't mind. part of what I'm learning here is that this
Oh.
program is terrific and super complicated and stuffed with features.
Yes.
And it looks like they're all stuffed into one window. Thus, we get into that discussion about how do you make things larger? Can you change the black background? I happen to have 2 monitors on my computer. Can I unlock or unhinge some of these panes and put them into a separate window? So on one screen, I can have less clutter and maybe many of my tools on my other screen in a separate window.
Yes. Oh, I'm just showing you here. This is the DaVinci. Oh, this is not the DaVinci. Yeah, this is the DaVinci. Oh, just a second. Yeah. This is one way they have it working. This is where all of them have versions of it. You see the guy on the left here. He's got 4 things going on. He's got the control over something going on. She's doing something over here. They're all working on this one particular video. And they're all using different monitors and different things. And this guy back here is yelling at them all or helping them figure out what to do.
So you're saying, yes, I can break out those panes and move them around.
Definitely.
Okay.
And that's what this guy has done. This is the cut page that we didn't talk about. This is the please mute when you're clearing your throat. And this is the timeline one. And then he's got something else going on over here. So you're able to take care of all these things. Go ahead.
Okay. My other quick question was, in something I read online, Googling the user interface adjustments, would you mind terribly if we hopped into the preferences and just saw what we might be able to do in terms of, like people asked, can you make it a, black text on a white background, or make the lists of things shown in a larger font?
Somebody want to do a search, DaVinci Resolve dark mode? Because I don't know the answer to that. UI settings. Oh. Okay, so it looks like I'm not sure what's going to happen next time I come in. Use gray background.
Right, but it looks like you have to quit and relaunch.
All right, I will exit and relaunch it. There, now it's gone. And click it to run. You can't see it, but it's got a real nice picture coming up on my other monitor over here. A complex program takes a little while to come up. And there, I don't see any difference. Sorry.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have to figure out what that change was. What did it do? User. So I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to turn.
How about on the left list there under color?
Interesting.
Okay, never mind. I'm just curious whether it was easy to find.
Well, we figured that one out. The thing to do would be dark mode.
Yeah, I'm Googling that, but it's,
Okay.
I'm not finding a simple answer.
Okay. Well, I've found that on the monitors I typically work with, there's a brightness control. It's down in the corner here. Okay. Any other questions?
Can I make a comment, Steve?
Please.
And I know I texted this out to you, is that I did the download on 17, and after being a day in, I tried to get into the dual monitors, and I found 17 became very unstable, crashed quite a few times when I started enabling dual monitors and started moving some of those panels around. And the other thing I found was there was an option that I saw on one of the on one of the videos, one of the training videos, and I'm looking through notes trying to pick it up. It was basically called video clean screen, where you could take one of your monitors and use it just as a dedicated preview. So you could see, especially if it was a monitor that, that had, good accuracy for color. And that was an option that it turns out is only available in the paid studio version.
Okay.
So as you get deeper and deeper into the program, you keep hitting into these things that are, oh, isn't that nice? But no, that's part of the paid, the paid one. It's not that easy to encapsulate what's in the studio version, just by a few groups of things. There's lots of little benefits that you stumble into. I think that's one of the ways they get you.
Dave?
Yeah.
Steve, this may be a dumb question, but I saw you could deliver to upload to Vimeo or YouTube. Can you just save this thing locally as an MP4?
That's what I did. You'll notice that I said custom. And if you take a look at my directory, you see that it is here, and that's the only place it is.
Can you save it in other formats?
Well, let's see. MP4. I QuickTime's AVI, MP4. So yes, it looks like you can save it in other formats using other codecs.
Okay. Also, can I use this software to capture audio and video off the internet?
You want to download YouTube videos?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I'd be using other software for that.
Okay.
I use any video converter pro. I think of AVC, any all video converter or something of that sort. I've talked about that before. I've used that, and that has worked out well for being able to do it.
All right. Well, I've been using Snagit, but what I found, I have an
I've heard
older
that work.
version. They may have fixed it in the newer versions, but the voice doesn't always sync with the movements
Okay.
of the mouth.
Well, you'll find out when you're doing videos sometimes. Okay, there's something I did here that I didn't show you.
It's 8 o'clock.
There's something I did that I didn't show you. I'm going to turn off all the sound. And that is when the video starts, you'll see that the text is zooming in. And I'd like to show you how that works, how you do that. Because then we go over here and bang. Now, the reason why it jumped is because I had that second generation. If I take second generation out, I put a second video in clip, so it's with it frozen. There are other ways of taking care of that. That's what I happen to do in this one. So how do I get this so that it zooms in like this? Well, let me talk about that a little bit. It's under video and it's called dynamic zoom. I turned on dynamic zoom. And what that means is that when I come over here and I choose the dynamic zoom, we see a red and a green. And what's happening is that it's taking the video from the red to the green. So you can see that it's zooming, it's bringing it larger. You follow what I'm saying? It starts with the red and then it gets bigger because green is the ending. So it starts with this size and gets up with this size. So if I start a little like this, and now I do it. Started a little smaller and went a little bigger. You follow what I did? In addition, you can also move this like this. And I don't know what this is going to do. Like that. So you can move it around. Now, something else I wanted to show you, and that was the World War II intro. Now, I'm going to turn off the music here so we can just see what's going on. But if you watch what's going on here, you see two things going on. We'll turn this off here. We see two things going on in this particular intro. We see that the pictures are changing in the center, and we see the text is coming in left and right. And then we have it stays like there. So that was a rather complex thing that I did. Here's some old videos I didn't use, but I have two texts. This is the left side. Let's see, come right here. This particular one is the left side or the right side, and this one is the left side here. And for each of them, I'm doing the transform. To bring them in to the left and to the right. And then I'm having them come on either side of these other videos. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yep.
As much sense as you want it. I've about reached to the end of what I had. Does anybody have anything else that you'd want me to talk about this afternoon?
Well, I know, Steve, you're on a tight schedule. Do you have a few more minutes?
I can spend a few more minutes.
Yeah. And other questions, people?
Steve, could you just repeat everything that you said?
Sure can. This will be coming out in video very soon.
I have a question.
Okay.
Once you've created your video, how do you take what you've produced in DaVinci and burn it to a playable Blu-ray disc or anything of that nature?
Well, the first thing you do is you take your video and you do like I've done here on this particular screen. You go over here and you do this launch here where you create yourself a file. Then it will create a file like this. The move files. It could be an MP4 or something else, as I showed just a minute ago. Then what you do is you run whatever software you want to burn it out. You would take the MP4 or the MOV or the AVI or whatever you end up producing from here, and whatever you need to end up producing from here, and burn that out. This doesn't do the burning. This only creates the videos. Think movies and theaters. That's what this software is used for.
Oh, for editing different parts of the movie to string everything together and smooth it out and play with the video effects.
Little things, yes.
Steve, what is the minimum hardware that would work well with this machine?
I don't know. As much memory and as fast a processor you can get. You need some type of graphic processor. I'm using a MacBook. It, of course, has a really nice graphic processor. This is an i5 machine. It's an Intel i5. It's got 16 gig of memory, I think.
I'm wondering, the clinic has gotten a lot of donations of Macs because people are upgrading out of them. We have a lot of iMacs from like 2009 to 2012 or 13.
I might be interested in one of those, but go ahead.
Yeah, would all of those be adequate to do this because they have such amazing video?
Well, using all, and that's a pretty big word. I can say that I'm working with a 2010 iMac, and it does not have the power. It's a 2010 iMac with an i3 processor, but it doesn't have the power necessary to run this software.
It can't even run it. It breaks down, or just too slow.
Well, see, this software, when it starts up, looks and sees if there's a graphic processor. And when I do it on my Linux machine that doesn't have a graphics processor, it gets upset. It says you have to have please select your graphic processor, your graphic processing board. So which one is it? I don't know. You can take a look. As I did here, you go up to the top on your iMac or your MacBook, you do about this Mac, and it tells you what you have. I have an Intel Iris Plus graphics on this machine. So if your software, if your iMac or whatever Apple computer you have has that on it, or something, some type of graphic processor, if it shows up, I don't know what the iMac downstairs has, then you can find out, then you can try it. I mean, you know, it doesn't cost anything to try this. You don't have to buy anything to try this. You download it. And when you're downloading it, what you're getting is a file, a few gigabyte file. I think somebody said how big it was a little while ago. And you can put that on a zip drive, memory stick, put that on a memory stick and plug it in and see if it installs. If it doesn't, well, then that machine can't handle it. Go to the next machine. Mm-hmm. I have an iMac downstairs. It's an old one. It's got the smaller of the two screens. It's working out extremely nice for what I'm using it for. In fact, I'm using it to store files for other machines in the house, as well as scanning documents. Yeah.
Steve, I noticed that there's various kinds of specialized hardware, special keyboards, etc. Are you using one of those?
No, I'm using this guy right here.
Okay.
This is I can't even see the name here, but it's a one that I got from Computer Center.
Okay.
All right, Steve.
And it's a regular mouse. Go ahead.
When you go to start a project and it's looking at the files, does it tap off of the Windows file names, or does it start to create its own?
Well, I'm not familiar exactly with what it does in the Windows. However, when I started at the bin and I chose a directory that has all my files in it, here's one right here. Oh, it's very easy. It's just the one video from Drew's presentation. And here's, we did that. So that's the name of the file.
Okay.
In the file system.
So it's going to tap off of the name of the file in the file system versus create something of its own.
That's correct on Windows too. Okay.
Now think about it from their standpoint. They're working with professionals who are dealing with dozens, if not hundreds of projects. You've got to leave the file names alone.
Oh, you'll be surprised what some of these software developers will do.
Well, I'm not surprised with these guys because they're thinking that way. Okay. They are making this software so that it's powerful enough for the big companies to use to produce their videos.
Okay.
In the promo for the talk tonight, I listed several movies that I found online that were made with, in part or completely with DaVinci Resolve.
Well, could you repeat
the software I'm using here is the software they're using. Go ahead.
Could you repeat those, Steve? Which movies they made?
The Mummy, Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man, and Homecoming.
Wow.
Steve?
Yeah.
Right in the beginning, the subject of your workflow came up and then quickly went away. And, you know, I certainly understand, appreciate, you know, all the mechanics of, you know, how you get to do individual steps inside of Resolve, but you know, a step back and talk a bit more about, you know, the artistic piece or what you're trying to accomplish, you know, from in terms of starting with the various, you know, clips that you have and the thought process of, you know, of what you're trying to do with them. And I don't know if that's too broad of an open-ended question, but to me, that's more the artistic side of it.
It is actually. You have to have an idea of what it is you want to do before you can start putting it down. If you're an artist drawing a painting, you have to have an idea what you're painting. You don't just start putting paint on the, well, some people might, but you have to have an idea of what it is you want to produce. When I did this demo over here, I decided I wanted to, this was when I produced for the computer group last fall. And I decided to take some videos we took when we were in England and put them together along with some music and such. And then I came up with, well, try zooming in on it, because we got Stonehenge, as like I did on the one I was showing you earlier here, where this guy here, when we were zooming in on the dancing. Did I show you how to do that? No, I don't think I showed you how to do that. But it was I told you about it. Like I did with the text where it came towards you. It's the same thing I did with that. I just set it so it went in closer. It's a matter of, the more you play with this, you get more familiar with the kinds of things you can do. And that just goes into the artsy thing. You start thinking about, oh, well, how about if I tried this? Oh, how about if my text came in like that or something?
Steve?
Martin?
Sorry, a quick question. It just dawned on me that the white text on black background might not be a DaVinci setting, but it might be a Mac setting. Since you showed us a folder that had the same thing, would you mind terribly hopping into system preferences? Because I think that might be where that's controlled.
While he's doing that, I just wanted to respond to Jeff's comment. And what I was remembering was when Steven Spielberg, I think it's Spielberg, who did Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's a Spielberg film, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was on a really tight budget. And what he did was he storyboarded the entire film. Pretty much every shot he cartooned out before he filmed the film. And he said it made for a much tighter, better film to do that, to sketch out exactly what he had in mind and sort out a lot of the issues before he actually went to the enormous expense with the camera and the actors and so forth. So I think that might be a really helpful thing when working on a video project, is to sketch it out in advance. And of course, you want to play with it. There's a story that Arthur C. Clarke was walking with Stanley Kubrick, and Kubrick was carrying a camera, and they had all these bones on the ground, which were laid around to the ape scene at the beginning of the movie. And Kubrick started throwing a bone up in the air and filming it. He thought that was really kind of cool. And that led to this very famous shot of him throwing the ape, throwing the bone up into the air and turning into the spaceship and traveling in time that way. So you definitely want to be open to spontaneity, but it's also good to do a lot of really careful planning.
Steve, I think it's in the general panel of system preferences.
Yep, let's try it. It's not helping. It's not helping this application.
Yeah, well, again, you might need to quit and relaunch, but if you go back to your folder,
it wants to be shrouded in darkness.
But that will change the way your folders look. So I'm hopeful it's the explanation.
We'll see.
We can see it changing the thing at the top. I don't like it because it's too bright for me.
I understand. It's just a question.
Okay. Then again, you're probably talking Windows and I'm talking Mac. So it might be a difference between the two. Because it might be that people who use Mac are only interested in this particular way it appears.
Steve, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you, Steve. That was great.
Thank you very much.
Steve, thank you very much. It was a great overview.